Just before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that, like I said in the video, like this talk is about you guys. It's really not about me. It's about like what you want to do in your life, and I encourage you to not take this advice word for word, but rather just, well, you guys are already all sitting, so that's great, but seriously, just sit down and think about it and how it applies to your life and to your goals. And so with that being said, I'm just going to start a little bit and explain a little bit more about my story. So I was fortunate enough to be born as the youngest of 6 children. Yeah, I know my mom and dad were pretty busy, but I was born as the youngest of 6 children. I have 4 sisters. My brother was and is my best friend. And I mean, you can consider it the good old days, the 8 of us. My brother, my dad, and I would play basketball outside, and then afterwards, after I hit a game-winning 3, obviously, we'd go and grill on the grill. We'd have steaks, burgers, whatever you want, and then all 8 of us would sit down at our extremely long table, like a Passover table, and just share what we did that day and what we learned and what we were excited for and how we could apply it to our lives. This continued for a while up until my parents just started arguing more and more and more. And my brother and I, we were too young and naive at the time to really realize that it was anything serious. But my older sister, on the other hand, knew that this like picture-perfect family, it wasn't gonna last. And I remember my parents telling me about that. They wouldn't let me go up to my friend Michael Mostowski's house that night because they had important news to share with us. And that important news was that they were going to separate and that I would have to move to a different city with my mom and my brother while my sisters stayed with my dad. And they even argued over this news with me. With the 10, 11-year-old kids, my mom got mad at my dad that he was like very upfront, very honest. And my dad was upset at my mom for going around the bush and not delivering the news straightforward and giving a false sense of hope. And I just remember after hearing them argue for 5 minutes about their separation, if I asked my brother, and we just went downstairs if we go just watch TV. And so I just remember sitting there looking at the TV in utter silence and just thinking like, dang, I feel like the only one who's going through this. But then I realized my brother's in this with me. I got my 4 sisters. And I just started to think and realize that some of my best friends, their parents were divorced as well. And so then I did a little bit of research at that young age and found out, according to the American Psychological Association, I have to cite the sources, right? That about 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce. And it's a heartbreaking and tragic statistic for sure. And so if you guys have experienced divorce personally in your life, or you know people who have, like, I seriously do feel for you. I may not be able to understand the severity of your situation or every single detail because everyone's story is different, but I feel like I can relate to your pain and your struggles as well. And I'm just here to tell you that it seriously does get better, and you will learn a lot about yourself through this rough and life-changing process. We're gonna fast forward a couple of years. I'm just playing rec soccer, drinking Capri Suns, eating Dunkaroos, right? What all middle schoolers do. And I remember on Monday, March 16th, my parents set it in stone, made it official that they were gonna make the divorce legal. And I didn't really think much of it at the time, you know? Like, my parents had been separated for 3 or 4 years, and so I just thought it was another day in the life of Michael, right? It was just, life goes on, just another crappy Monday, and yeah, I felt bad for myself a little bit at the time, but like I said, it was just another day. However, it was not another day. It ended up just being the final straw for my dad. The very next day, on Tuesday, March 17th, 2015, you guys probably know that as St. Patrick's Day, my dad ended up committing suicide. And it was one of the roughest things I've been through, for sure. And I remember my brother and I packing to go visit my dad that night, as we visited on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Caps versus Rangers were playing. I'm a huge Capitals fan. They just won the Stanley Cup, so I'm psyched. But we're going to go watch the Caps-Rangers game that night and just spend time with my dad after he had a rough day yesterday, you know? Unfortunately, we couldn't have that opportunity and that blessing. But I remember my mom coming home from work, just coming in through the garage, and we heard this scream. And my brother and I sprinted downstairs because we want to make sure our mom's all right, you know? And I just remember tears in her face, covered her face, and she muttered out the word that Dad's gone. And I wasn't even that sad in the moment. I just was frozen, you know? I was shocked. I was surprised. Like, how do you react to that? I had my bag packed upstairs. My dad was supposed to pick me up in 20 minutes. Like, it just, you can't really come up with feelings in that quick of a time. And I just remember walking to the park and sitting down and seriously thinking like how my life was going to change. And I remember feeling alone when my parents had separated for sure. But this feeling was something that was totally different. Like, even though my brother and I were in it together, we both had different relationships with my dad. All my sisters had different relationships with my dad. And that was something that was like gone forever. And I seriously felt like I was the only one. However, that's not the case. Every single day, 123 men take their life due to suicide. That's a lot, by the way. Men are over 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women. And the most mind-blowing, crazy statistic to me, personally, was that divorced men are 17 times, not 7, not 10, but 17 times more likely to commit suicide than divorced women. And that's messed up. You guys want to know the 3 main reasons why? Yeah, a little bit? All right. Number 1, they lose their kids. Courts are extremely biased towards the mom, and often for good reason. Number 2, they do not seek professional help, because we all know how guys are. They don't want to share their feelings. They don't want to share how they are. They want to just be the macho man and act tough. And instead of talking about their problems and their pain, they use drugs and alcohol in order to relieve that. And looking back on it, my dad had fit like spot on onto all 3 of these categories. And it was sad, and I felt like an idiot for not even noticing that. And I began to take personal blame for it, and I felt guilty. But I was just a 15-year-old kid at the time, you know? I didn't know my dad was sad, let alone that these were the reasons why. You know, I feel like that everything happens for a reason. I seriously do. I didn't see the reason at that time, but I realized that reason 2 years later. I realized, I don't know what y'all believe in, but I seriously believe that God had put this event in my life in order for me to realize, to first of all grow as a man, and second of all, to show me that drugs and alcohol were not the keys to happiness, but rather it just sent you deeper and deeper into that hole. I'm not trying to force religion down any of your throats, and I apologize if that offended any of you, but that's firmly what I believe. And I seriously believe that you're in this room for a reason. I believe that you're surrounded by these people for a reason. I believe that you're in IOV for a reason, and I want you guys to think about that reason. I know the first thought that comes to your head probably is, it's a requirement. I get that. I was in your shoes last year. 100% get that. But I guarantee you it's something deeper than that. You're in this room right now. I know for a fact that some of you already went to the first speaker series last month. And you guys didn't have to be here, but yet you are. And so I seriously want to encourage you just to sit down. Well, you guys already are, like I already said, and think about that reason. And I want you guys to seriously just give a minute. No, like 30 seconds, just to think about it, past the requirement, past that, just to think about why you're here with these people at this time in your life in your freshman year and how it can benefit you. I just want you to sit down for 30 seconds and think about that, all right? And then I'm going to ask some of you to share. All right. What do you believe that reason is, man?
Me?
Yeah. First thought that comes to your head, besides requirement.
Maybe like I heard you had an inspirational story, so maybe want to come more. Like maybe I can use some of what you say in my life, like in school or with my friends or something like that.
Awesome, man.
Inspiration, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. And what about you? There's first thought. I know. It's a lot of pressure, sure. But you should have one thought in your head right now. What is it?
I think it's to like meet the people that like God wants in my life for a reason, because it's like a very social place.
Amen.
I think that's it.
I believe that as well, definitely. And I seriously believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer by that. And just by sitting down and thinking about that and actually get your wheels turning, I appreciate the both of you, seriously, thank you guys. But just by sitting down for a minute and thinking about it, you guys are already so far ahead of people that you don't even realize. Last year, I was in your same exact shoes. I didn't think about why I was at NC State. I didn't think about why I was in IOV, and I certainly didn't think about why I was in the speaker series, you know? I did it because it was a requirement. So you guys are seriously already ahead. There's some 50-year-olds that go through the motion day by day and don't even realize the reasons they're doing it, you know? And that's depressing to me. And I want you to like seriously just think about that. And you know what the next step to getting ahead is? Is to be grateful for this opportunity. I know it's a Tuesday night. I know you guys could be upstairs watching Netflix or at the gym or doing homework because we're all busy. I get that. But seriously, you guys are in a heated room right now with your friends on some cozy looking couches. And like, it's so much more than you expect. Like, there are kids out there who would kill to have the opportunity you have right now. To be at NC State, they would kill for that. To be at a university, they would kill for that. To have an education. So seriously, guys, just be grateful for the opportunities that you have in your life. And that's another activity I want you guys to get started with, is I'm gonna pass out these note cards, and I want you to write down just 10 things, all right? Just 10 things of what you're grateful for. It could be anything. It could be a Red Bull, it could be candy corn, it could be a nice sweatshirt, your laptop, your phone, your glasses, your phone case, your fruit roll-up. It could be your Caribou coffee cup filled with Chex Mix. I don't know. It could be anything in your life. And so I really encourage you just to sit down. It won't be hard to come up with 10 things, right? Here, I'm actually gonna, can you pass this all around? And I'm gonna start with the pens as well. I have pens as well. You're welcome. It's a little early Halloween. You guys are welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Do you need one?
Yeah, I do actually. Yes, sir.
Of course. Here you go. Sorry. Could you guys pass that down as well? Yeah, perfect. You are smart. Does everyone have a note card and something to write with? Cole, I'm looking right at you, dog. Sorry, I had to call you out. Here you go. All right. Of course. All right, guys. Seriously, just 30 or so seconds just to do that. And I want you guys to leave a little bit of room for other things. Don't take up the whole card and just write on one side. And look up when you guys have your 10 things, please. So I know we're all good and ready to go. All right, I'm seeing most people's beautiful eyes. So can people call out some things? Parker? Food, awesome. Water. House. Family, awesome. These are great things. They're very basic needs, right? Those are the first ones that come to our head. Now I want you guys to write 10 more things. I want you to think a little deeper. And they could be anything. It could be a sweatshirt, a shirt, your favorite pair of underwear, your water bottle, coffee in the morning. Anything. Good professors, awesome. Sunsets.
Access to knowledge.
Access to knowledge, yeah. See, we're getting away from material things. And you see how crazy some of this is? Like nature, or like freedom of expression, or roller coasters. Like these things start to get, and we don't think about this stuff on a daily basis, but yet we're so blessed to have these things that we don't even realize it until we sit down and think. And just by sitting down and thinking about it, you're so much, I'm telling you guys, I know I've said it before, but you're so much farther ahead. There's some 50-year-olds who all they see in their life is negativity. They expect that things won't go their way. They expect that things are automatically going to go bad. And isn't it weird how it always does? If you look for blessings, you're going to find blessings. I promise that. But if you look for negativity, you're only going to get negativity. And there's science behind this. It's not just Gandhi or vibes or peace, right? There's actually a science behind this. And I'm not a science major by any means. If you are a science major, I respect you. I know how challenging it can be. But this is due to our reticular activating system. Our reticular activating system, it acts as a gatekeeper for our thoughts. And so what this means is it decides what's important in our life and what isn't. For example, have you guys ever overheard your name in a conversation when it wasn't directed towards you? Raise your hand if you've done that. Raise your hand. Okay, all of us. Sweet. And your brain is trained to look for your name. So it's going to pick it up even when it's not directed at you. And you may be thinking, okay, cool. What does that have to do with anything? Or what if you got a new car, right? You got a blue Honda, okay? And all of a sudden you see that blue Honda, you're walking down, you just park it, you walk downstairs and you see it right there. And then you walk outside and you see that same blue Honda and you're like, wow, everyone's copying me, right? It's weird. But those cars did not just appear out of anywhere. Rather, they've always been there, but now your brain is noticing them now that it's in your life. And so if there are blessings in your life and you acknowledge that, there's only going to be more that way. I'm telling you, my mom, she's a woman, she's very, well, obviously, but she's very positive. She's very positive, and she'll find the good in just about anything. She'll see that the leaves are changing colors, and that it's so pretty out, not that it's cold and that she used to rake them, right? Or she'll notice the old man and his wife walking down the side of the street holding hands, not that they're walking less than a mile an hour, all right? And like, wouldn't you guys, this is true. You may be thinking like, what does that have to do with anything in my life? It doesn't, right? Nah, there is. You guys ever had a really good day, and you guys get your test back and you killed it, right? And so you're gonna go treat yourself to Chick-fil-A, and all of a sudden you get an 8-count nugget, and there's 9 in there, right? You're stoked, you're psyched, and everything is just awesome. Going your way. You walk outside, there's a fully charged Lime scooter, you're ready to go. Just nothing can go wrong that day, right? Raise your hand if you've ever had those types of days. Yeah? Awesome, all of us, yeah, weird. Wouldn't you want to feel that way every day? Yeah? Yeah? Awesome, sweet. But the sad thing is, most of us feel negativity every single day. So example, say you've had a really bad day, right? The class feels like it dragged on for 3 hours. You walk outside, there's no scooters, and you just want to go upstairs and you check your phone. Of course, it's on 1%. You hit the Bowen elevator button, it's broken again, right? And you go upstairs, you have to walk up that whole flight. I know, it's a pain, guys. It really is. It's rough. And now you're thirsty from that flight of stairs, and so you get the water, and then the water fountain's broken. That was me last year. 202C, not worth it. I'm telling you guys. It was rough. It was rough. But we've all had those days, right? Yeah. And that's the majority of people think that way and have those days every single day. Does that sound right? Like, really, I think it's a little messed up. I'd rather have a positive day than a negative day, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? The biggest addiction in this world is problems. It's not heroin, it's not coke, it's not any type of drug. It's problems. And that's crazy. It is true. We look for problems to justify our situations and our attitudes. I could be mad at my dad for me becoming an asshole to my teachers and acting out against them and being really rude and losing friends and my grades declining, right? It's easy to do that. It's easy to blame him. But it's my decision. It was my decision to allow my grades to decline. It was my decision to not play lacrosse anymore. It was my decision to be rude and upset and mean to these people. And that may be true for you in your own life. You may say, I did bad on this test because my roommate was up late last night on the TV or on his computer, right? But you can blame him. It's easy to blame him, right? But still, you made that decision to let it affect you. As hard as that is to accept, it's a flawed way of thinking. And I promise you, if you guys see negativity in your life, think about this and think about why it's in your life and if you're actively searching for it or not. And so, with that being said, why is it that some people can come and be so successful and then some of them are just average? And it's that way of thinking. Why is it, this may be controversial, but why is it that LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world? Why is it that Michael Phelps is the greatest swimmer to ever freaking swim? Why is it that Warren Buffett is one of the wealthiest people in the world? Sure, they may have physical advantages like LeBron and Michael Phelps, or they may have intellectual advantages like Warren Buffett and been born into this knowledge, right? Right? Yeah, okay. But they still made the decision to act upon what they wanted to do in their life. They made the decision. LeBron James made the decision. He chose to dedicate his life to the game of basketball, and now he's the face of Los Angeles. Not in the Lakers, Los Angeles. Michael Phelps chose to put those hours into swimming, and now he's the most decorated Olympian of all time. Warren Buffett chose to research specific companies and made the decision to invest in some or to not invest in some, and now his money works for him. And so, yeah, you may think, okay, well, they had those advantages, right? But what about those without any advantages, but instead had everything going against them? That's why I'm bringing my man Tony Robbins back into it. He's a huge motivation, and he was born into an abusive and poor family. He didn't have meals every single meal. He wasn't blessed to have 3 meals a day or all-you-can-eat dining hall, right? He didn't have that. He actually got kicked out of his house at 17 years old. His mom chased him out of the house with a knife in her hand, ready to kill him. He never went back, and I don't blame him. And he had every reason in the world just to stop and settle. But he wrote in his book, Awaken the Giant Within. Highly recommend that read, by the way. Reading will take you to another level. That's another story for later. But he wrote down, at 19 years old, he made the decision to take action in his life. He wanted, for him personally, it was to make sure that people didn't suffer, that no one would ever feel the pain that he felt or feel the hunger that he felt. He made that decision at 19 years old and took the steps. He wrote it down and took the steps to do that and to achieve it. And guess what he's doing now? Since 2014, he's provided over 200 million meals. 200 million. He's changed millions of lives, whether that's through conferences, through seminars, through books, through podcasts, through movies, anything, you name it, he's done it. And he had everything in the world to go against him, but he didn't settle. He didn't blame his mom for him being hungry or poor. He didn't blame his mom for his lack of success. And now he's not crediting his mom for his success, you know? And I believe that's true in every day. Is if you make the decision to act upon your goals, you will achieve them. So like, for example, actually don't worry if you don't know what you want to do in your life, right? Don't worry if you get one bad test. Like, we're all so young, guys. Like, we're so young. I know it's cliche, but we can seriously do anything we want. And I'm a firm believer in that. But going back to Tony, he made that decision to write down his goals. And so that's what I wanted to do with you all today, is I want you guys to flip that note card over and write down 3 goals that you have for your 4 years here. Because it makes you think about Tony. If he can go through all that and still be the man he is today, if you guys have more resources at your fingertips than he did, what can you guys do, right? So I want you guys to list down 3 goals that you have and leave a little bit of space in between each one. I will get you another note card. I want them clear, specific goals as well. So I didn't specify that. I don't want to get good grades or to get a job. I want to be a surgeon, or I want to get Dean's List every semester. I want them specified. I want them specific. All right, I'm getting most of these beautiful eyes on me. So, what's your goal? What's one of them?
Become a successful bioprocessing engineer.
Perfect. I like the specificity. I like the clarity. You? Study abroad. Where would you like? What's the first place that pops in your head? Where would you like to go? New Zealand. Good choice. I like it. I like it. All right. And what's one of your goals?
Graduate with a 3.0 or higher.
Okay. I like it. I like it. The specificity. And you?
Get into Harvard High School.
Dude, let's go. I like that. All right. How are you going to achieve that?
Combination of good grades, letters of recommendations, research.
What is good grades?
Good grades is, well, that's another one of my goals, is having above a GPA, good grade or higher.
Okay, awesome. And you see, it's hard to find these specificities. And so I want you guys to come up with 2 steps below that and how you're going to achieve each one of those goals. And I want it clear. So if it's Dean's List, I don't want you to say, I'm going to study my ass off. I want you to be I'm going to study my ass off for 10 hours a week or 3 hours per class, you know? I want you guys to get specific with it and find steps to achieve that. I want you guys to continue this on later, but just for the sake of time, I'm sure you guys have 2 steps for at least one of your goals. So, Calista, what's one of your goals and your 2 steps to achieve them?
One of my goals is to start my nonprofit educating rural communities on mental health. And so one of them is writing really good grant, doing a lot of really good grant writing, proposals, and also regularly planning and following through your checkpoints.
Awesome. That's great. And what about you? Awesome. Great. How are you going to achieve those programs?
I've already applied and I plan on building my resume, telling more people what I've already done, finding advisors.
Great. And you?
Mine's actually similar to Callisto's, but kind of to bring food access to as many people as possible through Homegrown Heroes, and that kind of includes writing proposals, more detailed outlines about the organization, as well as applying for more grants in the area.
I love it. You guys got your specifics down, and I seriously respect that. If you guys, I want to show you a little science behind it. Has anyone, raise your hand if you ever heard of Harvard? No one, you haven't heard of, okay, yeah, we all heard of Harvard, right? Yeah, it's one of the best universities in the world. In 1979, they did a research where they interviewed all the graduates of their graduate program, not their undergraduate, but their graduate program. They interviewed and asked some of these questions. It was, do you have any goals? And if they are, what are they? And did you write them down or not? They found that 84% had no specific goals. They were like, yeah, I want to make money, I want to have a family, but that was it. And those are great objectives, but it's kind of obvious, right? They found that 13% had clear specific goals, but they didn't write them down. They said, I want to make over $100,000 a year. Oh, I want to become a doctor at this hospital, right? They only found that 3% of one of the top universities in the world were some of the most intelligent individuals you will ever meet in your life. 3% of them had actually clear, specific, written down goals. And can anyone guess, 10 years later, who did the best out of all those, out of that 100%? Can you guys take a wild guess? The 3%? Yeah, exactly. They found that the 3% on average made 10 times more than the 97% put together. That should be mind-blowing for you guys. And so just by writing down your goals and sitting the time and making them specifics, you're already 97% ahead of Harvard. No, just kidding. You're really not. But seriously, just by sitting the time to sit down and think about your goals and write them, and sitting here and thinking why you're here in this room for a reason, and having a list of things that you're grateful for, guys, I'm telling you, there's some 60-year-olds that have never done this in their life. And I want you guys to take this seriously and apply it in your life as you move forward. And I'm out of time. I had a little bit more I want to share, but I just want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here. Like, I know I'm just an alumni, ILV alumni, and you guys did not have to be here. You guys could have been watching Netflix or at the gym, or I guess Fountain if you guys really wanted to, but I don't know why you would. But seriously, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity. And if you guys take anything away from tonight, just remember that you guys have so much more to be grateful for than you think. So much more. Some of the things you have written down, I'm sure may sound insane and crazy to you, but you're grateful for them regardless. Number 2, that worry does not take away today's troubles, it takes away tomorrow's peace. And also, the third one is that you have clear, specific, written down goals, and you guys have actually thought. You guys have actually got your wheels turning in your brain, that we all have, and you guys are so far ahead of your peers, of kids my age, of your parents, honestly. And I just want to let you guys know, I know it may sound cliche and kind of nonchalant, but I seriously care for you guys, and even though I don't know you that well, like, I would love the chance to get to know you. I would, if you guys feel that there's something on your heart or something that you're thinking of that you're actually struggling with, or maybe it's just figuring out how to work a meal plan or any other freshman thing that it may be, like, I'm here for you guys, and I seriously mean that. If you guys want to come up afterwards, I'd be more than happy to give you guys my contact information and talk with me after. And if you guys don't want to talk in front of all your peers, then you guys can still come up. I'll give you my contact information, and we can schedule a one-on-one meetup for later on in the semester. I seriously mean that, guys, from the bottom of my heart, because I've met a good bit of you, and you guys are cool. You guys are definitely different than last year's class, and we all are different. And you guys should realize that and be grateful and unique. So, once again, just thank you all so much for coming out. Like, I really, really appreciate it, and being patient with me tonight. And let's have a killer semester, and thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Of course. Thank you, Brian.
I would give you swag like I normally do, but Hannah said that we don't have anything that you don't already have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I've got a solid pat on the back.
Awesome.
And a hug.
That's the best of all. I love it. I love it.
All right.